you go nowhere.
Now Veronica is the name of the honey.
I want the party, jump into my scene. Sunshine, I could call you my baby boy. You could call me your lady. Said I need you, I need you.
Yes, we making all of the money.
She had the vocals to rival Mary J., the look to dominate MTV, and a hit record burning up the dance charts. But somehow, Veronica Vasquez, the rising 90s R&B queen, vanished before she could ever claim her crown. Was it label sabotage, industry politics, or something even deeper? Buried by her own label, caught between two music worlds, and later linked to Broadway royalty. This is the explosive story of a Latina star who had it all, and still got sidelined. And wait until you hear what happened to her son that changed everything. Let's talk about the voice they didn't want you to remember. Alright, so let's rewind to the mid-90s, a golden era for R&B. It's the time of Brandy, Monica, TLC, and Mariah Carey. The airwaves are packed, the competition is cutthroat, and record labels are desperately searching for the next big thing. Enter Veronica Vasquez, young, Bronx-born, Puerto Rican, and her voice, straight fire, soulful, powerful, pure. In 1995, she drops her debut album, V as in Veronica, at just 21 years old under Mercury Records. And here's the kicker. She wasn't just another pretty face with a demo. She had stage presence, dance floor energy, and a genre-bending sound that fused R&B, pop, and house music before that was even trendy. She was ahead of her time, and that would become her curse. While her peers were getting million-dollar rollouts, Veronica's debut was quietly released with barely a whisper from the label. Still, she managed to catch fire in the clubs. Her 1997 single, Let Me Go and Release Me, produced by Rodney Darkchild Jerkins, exploded in the underground dance scene. It shot straight to the top of the Billboard Club Top Your Dance Music chart, becoming a gay club anthem in New York, Miami, and LA. People were living for her energy. She was becoming a staple in the nightlife scene, the kind of artist whose songs DJs wouldn't dare skip. And yet, radio, crickets, mainstream TV, silent, interviews, practically non-existent. Why? Because her own label didn't know what to do with her. Behind the scenes, there were whispers. Mercury didn't know how to market her. Was she urban, pop, Latin, dance, all of the above? And rather than take a risk and let her define a new lane, they froze her out. Sources close to the scene say there were internal debates about whether to push her to urban radio or top 40. In the middle of that identity crisis, her career stalled. It's the classic industry mistake. When a label doesn't understand you, they silence you. She had the voice, the look, the audience, but no one behind the curtain willing to bet big. And in an era where promo budgets made or broke careers, Veronica got stuck in music industry purgatory. There were even rumors that future singles were intentionally shelved to make space for bigger, more marketable artists the label had already invested in. Some insiders speculated that Veronica was too edgy for the label's mainstream vision. And once her club success started to overshadow her chart performance, execs panicked. She was becoming a voice for the underground, a symbol of freedom, diversity, and grit. But that wasn't what Mercury wanted. They wanted safe, predictable, packageable, and Veronica was none of that. Just when it seemed like the industry had tossed her aside, Veronica did what no one expected. She switched lanes, hard. Out of the blue, she pops up on the silver screen. In 1997, she lands a role in the cult classic Baps. Yeah, the same one starring Halle Berry. It wasn't a massive part, but it was a sign. Veronica wasn't done. She was just getting started, in a whole new arena. Then came the twist no one saw coming. In 2000, Veronica plays none other than Selena Quintanilla in the television biopic Selena, A Dream Come True. Now pause. This wasn't the J-Lo blockbuster, but still, this was huge. She was playing a Latin icon, beloved, martyred, immortalized. And you already know the comparisons to Jennifer Lopez were flying left and right. Some people said Veronica's version was more musically authentic, that she actually sang like Selena instead of lip-syncing. Others threw shade, saying she was riding the coattails of a tragedy. But behind the gossip, her performance spoke volumes. She nailed the role, the look, the vulnerability, the voice. Critics called her hauntingly believable. And for a brief moment, it felt like Veronica was back in the spotlight. This could have been her big second act, a redemption arc. A full-blown career reinvention. So what happened? Silence. Total blackout. No follow-up film. No new music push. No press tour. It was like the industry slammed the brakes again. And behind the scenes, the rumor mill churned. Some said her contract with Mercury still had her tied up. Others whispered about Hollywood politics, claiming casting directors loved her performance but couldn't figure out where to place her. Too ethnic for the white girl roles. Too pop pretty for the gritty urban stories. And once again, Veronica got boxed out. Meanwhile, less talented, more marketable performers were getting lead roles and magazine covers. It was déjà vu, another system that couldn't figure out what to do with a woman who didn't fit the mold. So once again, Veronica did what she had to do. She disappeared. But this time, it wasn't for music. It was for family, and that's when the real story begins. So after 2 career pivots, one in music, one in film, both mysteriously cut short, Veronica vanishes, not from the earth, but from the spotlight. And then years later, boom, her name pops back up in theater circles. Why? Because now, she's not alone. She's standing beside Broadway royalty. That's right. Veronica marries Christopher Jackson, a theater actor whose star was rising fast. And if that name sounds familiar, it should. He later becomes known for playing George Washington in Hamilton, one of the most successful Broadway shows of all time. They're a power couple on paper. Beauty, talent, stage presence, the works. And for a while, things seem peaceful. They settle down in New York City, build a family, and start living a quieter life, away from the flashing lights and red carpets. But then came the diagnosis that shook everything. Their son, CJ, is diagnosed with autism. And not just mild symptoms. We're talking severe challenges. Social anxiety, light and sound sensitivity, meltdowns, difficulty connecting with peers. Suddenly, Veronica wasn't just a former singer or actress. She was now a full-time advocate, a mother in the trenches. And here's where her story takes a whole new kind of twist. Instead of chasing fame, she starts fighting for her child. Veronica and Christopher throw themselves into autism advocacy, joining campaigns, walking in Autism Speaks fundraisers, and publicly speaking out about the challenges so many parents face but are too scared to admit. She doesn't glamorize it. She tells the raw truth about therapies that don't work, doctors who give generic advice, and the mental toll of parenting a child in constant distress. Behind closed doors, Veronica is dealing with meltdowns in grocery stores, shattered routines, and the emotional chaos of not knowing what tomorrow will bring. And while some washed-up artists chase reality shows or messy comebacks, Veronica chose a different path, purpose over performance. But don't get it twisted. This isn't a walked away from fame story. This is a woman who got pushed out twice and still chose to turn that pain into something bigger than herself. She went from nightclubs to biopics to IEP meetings and therapy sessions. It's not glamorous, it's not trending, but it's real. And in an industry that often chews people up and spits them out, Veronica kept her soul intact. So now here we are. The club hits are distant echoes. The acting buzz? Gone. And the industry? Still pretending she never existed. But make no mistake, Veronica Vasquez's story isn't over. It's just been rewritten on her own terms. Today, she still lives in New York City, raising her children, supporting her husband's continued Broadway success, and standing at the front lines of the autism advocacy movement. No, she's not trending. She's not trying to go viral, but she's doing the work that actually matters. And you want to talk legacy? Let's talk about this. In the 90s, Veronica was one of the few Latina artists in R&B. way before it was diversity approved. She was blending genres before Spotify playlists and algorithm-friendly crossovers. And she became a club icon without radio, without major PR, and without the machine pushing her forward. The industry didn't know what to do with her, so they erased her. But the culture never did. Ask any DJ from the NYC underground, and they'll tell you, Veronica's voice still owns the room. Ask parents fighting for special needs services, and they'll say, her story gave them hope. And maybe that's the real gag here. The industry wanted to shape Veronica into a marketable product. But what they got was a woman who refused to be anything but herself. She never sold a scandal. She never fake dated a rapper. She never clout chased a comeback. And yet, she left a mark, not just on music, not just on film, but on real lives. So, yeah, Veronica didn't get the flowers when she deserved them. But now, she's grown her own damn garden. And the next time someone asks you about forgotten 90s artists, don't say, whatever happened to Veronica Vasquez. Say, she lived, she fought, and she mattered. If you remember blasting Let Me Go and Release Me at a basement party, or saw her in Baps, or just learned her name today, drop a comment and show her some love. And if you're here for the stories the industry tried to bury, hit subscribe, because we're not done digging.